Oh, hello, Andrew. How are you? Welcome to another one of my Mastering Diversity Conference 2023 Wales LinkedIn Lives. How is it up there in North Wales?
It's pretty good today, thank you. And really pleased to be joining you today live from North Wales. The weather's, it's okay. It's not raining, so we can't complain.
Oh, it's not raining.
No, it's not raining
That's a
today.
bonus.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a definite bonus in North Wales. So.
We had sunshine yesterday. Today I'm looking out into grey skies.
Yeah, it's a
But
bit
you
grey.
know, that's the price we pay for the lushness of this country that we call Wales.
Exactly.
It
We
is
wouldn't
what
have
it is.
we wouldn't
Because I
have the
remember,
farms and stuff like that, would we?
yes, exactly. I remember when I drove through Wales in 2005 on my way to Chepstow, and I saw the lush greenness. I could not stop thinking about it. And now here I am because I moved a year after. So let's not get too much reminiscing because we're not here about, but actually, we're here about beautiful Wales. We're here
Yeah.
about diversity, equity, and equality and inclusion in Wales. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are joining us now, or those of you who are joining us with a cup of coffee afterwards, this is my eminent colleague and I dare say friend, Andrew Martin, head of food and drink at the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre in North Wales. Now, Andrew, I think there is a connection between AMRC and Sheffield University. Would you like to tell us about AMRC? Just pretend we know nothing about AMRC.
Yeah, okay. So, you're absolutely right. There's a link across to Sheffield University. It's really interesting because AMRC really was born out of a lot of industrial disputes, industrial wastelands, etc. And what it's about really is providing a magnet opportunity for Wales to really drive advanced manufacturing, which we are good at, but really we want to become better, more globally within that, and really look at how we expand our knowledge in areas such as artificial intelligence, data management, advanced manufacturing techniques, hydrogen, a whole range of subject areas, if you like. And AMRC is heavily involved in all those areas. And it's a great opportunity for Wales, really. Our link back to the university is they're one of our sponsors, and our building up in sunny North Wales occasionally. We're in partnership with Airbus as well, and also Welsh Government. But from North Wales, we do cover all of Wales as well. So we don't leave anybody out. We'll travel anywhere to speak to people. But within that, I think, our main role is reaching out to business and individuals within business and also young people and really inventors anywhere. I have a saying that invention is our free gift, and that anybody can be an inventor. Anybody can invent something. Anybody can derive forward innovation within that. It doesn't matter who you are in life. It doesn't matter where you are in life. Exactly. And that to me is absolutely key and something that AMRC, we really enjoy doing, working with people like that.
Oh, that's brilliant. I actually had the privilege of being your guest at the Manufacturing Action Plan when that was launched with the Minister for the Economy and a lot of other erudite people that were there at the helm of innovation and manufacturing. Tell us, Andrew, because I know on that day, I know your work before, and I know you work with businesses, and I know you are actually focused on diversity and also supporting businesses that would not necessarily be able to get access to the innovation and to the manufacturing support that is there. Because over the last 2 years, my wonderful colleague and I, Maggie Ogunbanwo, who is one of the board members for Food and Drink Wales, and my joint lead on a project called Bridging the Gap Between Finance and Opportunity for Black-owned businesses. You had us up there, Andrew, and you hosted one about the cohorts. you took us on a tour, you showed us about the innovation in food and drink, but then you also expressed a lot of support. And I know you have been carrying on support with individuals from the cohort. But I've laid a foundation because I wanted to get back to that. But in terms of the day, the manufacturing action plan, when that was launched, there was definitely a focus on diversity and inclusion there. Would you like to just share with us about that and AMRC's focus on that, please?
Yeah, I think it's so important, diversity and inclusion within business, within manufacturing, within every area really of business. AMRC, we have an approach where we globally recruit. So we have a really multicultural team. You know, we have people from all over the world. And that really gives us an amazing basis to understand people. And we've got a real passion on, for example, on that day of trying to open up. How do we challenge ourselves? How do we challenge the status quo? How do we reach into communities that we're not good at reaching? How do we break down those barriers? How do people see past, the traditional stereotypes, if you like? And I think, for us, that's a daily challenge, because people look at our building and go, wow, we've got robots, we've got all sorts of clever kit inside here. And it's a beautiful place to work. But how do we actually get and challenge ourselves then? So on that day, we didn't put a lot into the manufacturing action plan for Wales. And part of that, therefore, our work is how do we get that message out into every community? And it doesn't matter where you are in Wales. It's about what community you're in and how do we access that? And can we turn that manufacturing action plan into reality? So wherever you are, and it doesn't matter in terms of how diverse we look at people, it's saying to ourselves, our challenge is giving every single person in Wales that opportunity to really access whatever resources they need. And if they've got a dream and they've got some ideas, then we just need to make sure that we're totally open to that.
Yes.
And that's what the team do. And I think, I'm supported by a team of really bright young engineers.
Yes.
They are really bright, really young, very diverse.
I noticed that. Tell us about the diversity, the makeup of your team.
So I mentioned before, we recruit anywhere. We recruit based on skills, really, and experience. We need knowledge. We need experts. And so we've got people really from around the world, from India, from Africa, Far East, France. Doesn't really matter to us in terms of that. But that whole diverse makeup of our team gives you a very different viewpoint. And I think that's a big strength that we have, AMRC has. It allows us to think differently. So just as an example, a bit of team building we did to show diversity. One of the team members developed a world food lunch. So everybody had to bring in their own lunch from where they were from. And we had the most amazing food. And what happened then, which is really interesting, was that even though we all know which was from and everything else, we had real conversations about countries and cultures and understanding through that bond of real food. And that, to me, opened up a whole new, different way of thinking as well about how we interact.
Yes.
And it just showed the sort of, I think, the thing that you can't see behind the scenes sometimes, that real passion of people to make a difference.
Yes.
But we don't even think of diversity in that way. I think we think in a different way. We think that we embrace it, and what makes people different, I think, makes people interesting.
Yes.
And people who are interesting more can have some interesting ideas. And therefore our role and our team's role really is getting those ideas out of them. And what can they do with them, with it back in their own communities as well.
Exactly. You said two things. The two things that sprung to my mind when you were speaking. One of them is that you said you go and you go for talent, because there is that view that if you try to recruit looking at diversity as your aim, it could diminish your talent pool. But what I heard you say was you didn't necessarily go recruiting for diversity. You recruited for talent, but you were open to look everywhere, and you ended up with a diverse pool nonetheless. I find that to be very, very, very interesting. What would you say to the people who say that, well, but we only have all of one type because the talent isn't there? What would you say to that?
I think I totally disagree, because the talent is there. I think you have to have a different look at it. You have to look through a different prism almost in terms of how you look at recruitment. And there is talent. There's local talent. There's global talent. There's so many different opportunities for people, but you really have to think about those skills you need and experience. And then it doesn't matter where they're from, what their background is, and it doesn't matter their age even, or anything. There are no barriers to that. And I think if you work in an environment where there's that real openness and discussion about people,
yes,
then it works. So, I'll give you an example. I was asked to not be on an interview panel, but to have a conversation with somebody who was going to join our organisation. And the conversation was a sort of a fireside chat, really, around what did we think, and do we think they could fit into the organisation?
Yes.
And what was really interesting, after just about an hour's discussion about nothing apart from personality and what we all did, we could tell, and I could suddenly tell within that hour, that person would fit in perfectly.
Yes.
Would bring in a whole range of skills, but their openness and everything else would bring something different to us, and some of their experiences would bring things differently. Now, I think that person, if they'd gone for a normal interview, I don't think they would have got a job, because they're different. They have a different outlook. They look different as well. And I think that's where you have to break down those barriers in recruitment and really think differently about how you recruit people. And that's the key challenge, really.
Absolutely. You've got to, it's called applying deliberate diversity. You have to be deliberate and intentional about it. Because what I heard from what you said about how you recruit is that you are looking for your skills, but you look all over. So it's where you look. And would you agree with me as well to even say it's how you look? And I don't mean whether you are white or whatever, but how your organization looks. What's the messaging that your organization gives? What's the brand feel of your organization? What's the language on your website? What are the photographs of the people that work with you? Who else is there saying to somebody else, AMRC is a great place to work, and they look differently or they think differently? Because what I find is that people will say, I can't find anyone. No one is applying. How would you respond to that?
It is definitely about how you set your organisation up. So you're right. If you don't use the right language, if you don't use the right, even your messaging in your day-to-day work, it's how you conduct yourself. So because people nowadays, you look on LinkedIn and various other channels, and people today are looking for different types of organizations. They want to work with progressive organizations that have core values.
Yes.
And I think some businesses struggle, and they could say, well, it's a type of work. No, it's nonsense in my view. That it's about culture and how you develop that, and passion as well. It takes time and effort as well. It's not something that you can't just make it up. You've got to believe in it, and and it's hard work. Reaching out to different communities and talking to them about what we do. It's not an easy job. People think, oh, you can just go and talk to them. No, you have to understand their language and what they do and respect them. And that takes quite some time. And I think sometimes as business leaders, people don't really take enough time out to do that and to think, actually, this is the real type of organization that we want to become. And by becoming that diverse organization, will add real value and will take us in different directions. And I think unless organizations change and think that way, they may find it hard to recruit.
Yes.
Because I, for example, myself, do I want to go into work into an organization that has certain characteristics?
Yes.
No, I don't. So, and as an individual, as a human being, we all make our own choices. And I think we're seeing that more now in young people.
Yes.
And as businesses have to respond to those challenges.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And I think about when you were speaking, I was thinking about the whole two things: groupthink and echo chambers, filter bubbles, knowledge chambers. Because what I find from what you were speaking about, to me, it made me think when you said this to yourself, I don't want to just look at this person's expertise. I want to sit and I want to hear how they think. I want to have a discussion. I want to get to know them. Now, that to me tells me that there is, you are the head of food and drink. And, therefore, if you're the head, you are influential in that organization. You are definitely one who, by every means, would be applying good allyship, because you are willing to listen to everybody, to hear what they're about, and to extricate the value that they bring to you from conversations. Now, in the whole realm of those of us who don't want to hear any different views, you mentioned LinkedIn and social media, where we are supposed to get to know and understand people and see what's about. How do you think that organizations like yourselves can learn from the challenges or the mistakes that others might make by just engaging with the people that think, speak, and express opinions that they agree with?
Yeah, I think it's a real chance. I think it's a real challenge. I think, particularly on social media, people are so quick to criticize, they don't take time to think.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that, I've certainly learned over my time is you have to think, but you also have to reflect them. So you might take an approach, might be right, might be wrong, and nobody at all is perfect. And by making those mistakes and reflecting on those, you can then start to alter. And I think if we have people and you can change one person's view,
yes,
then you make a difference. I'm always very proud when I get, I manage to change someone's view, or we have a really reasonable conversation, and and they start to understand things, because I know that person then has influence over a number of other people.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that we want. That's the reason for the conference, guys, because this whole conversation, this group of LinkedIn lives that will be on the platform for a while for you to enjoy at your leisure and to learn from at your leisure. They're all focused on developing and evoking thought for the conference that's coming on the 18th of September. And it's also reflecting the concepts that I really believe in my book, Mastering Diversity. And one of the things I talked about in this book was, and it's interesting what's going on now in real